Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Glory Glory Man United podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Quinn, and joining me today is Brushy on this glorious Monday evening. How's it going, Brushy?
Yeah, not too bad, Carl. Not too bad.
Definitely not too bad after that performance at the Emirates yesterday. So much to get our teeth into, but what a technical masterclass from Ruben Amorim, who had to think on his feet when United were down to 10 men when Dallo was sent off. So that meant the game plan was out the window, and every single substitution worked to a T. Um, there's redemption in there for certain players. Xerxes, after being booed off against Newcastle, scores the winning penalty. In addition to that, there was a moment in the game where Xerxes done a double nutmeg on William Saliba, leaving him on his ass, and then laying the ball out to Ahmad. He was just dancing around fellas and nudging them aside. Um, and then of course the goalkeeper, the man of the match, saving a penalty from Odegaard in the game, saving penalty from Havertz during the shootout, making two saves during the game from Declan Rice, and just where did it come from? Because we were all anxious about Bayindir starting this game, and he turned out to be man of the match. Brush, just incredible, wasn't it?
It was incredible scenes, like you say. Like you and many others, I have to put my hands up. I owe Bayindir an apology. I actually tweeted him actually and, and said sorry for not having any faith in him. I thought it was very strange a couple of days ago when the manager said that he would be starting in a game of this magnitude. It did come as a surprise to me, and as well as I, that Anana's not been convincing at all. But given the choice, I still thought, on paper at least, Anana is the better goalkeeper. So I couldn't understand for the life of me why we had already announced that we're starting our backup keeper in a game like this. But boy, were we wrong. He came in absolutely clutch, stepped up to the occasion. One of the things we were speaking about last time, Carl, was Anana's very strange technique when it came to penalties, where he used both arms as he was diving. And what a difference it makes when a keeper just does it simply with one. Who knew? Who knew? So there was that. What else? I do think, despite our good performance, we were very fortunate that we played aside with Kai Havertz up front, and not a not a half decent striker. Had they had a proper striker up front, I think we would have been dead and buried, to be honest. Because the amount of chances that guy had, it was utterly ridiculous. But you have to take him. Um, Dallo, needless sending off. In a game like that. I don't know what he was thinking. Um, Also, yes, the referee as well. We're gonna have to talk about the referee because he was awful. It's one of the worst referee performances I've seen in a very long time. Um, Bruno obviously got clipped, but his reaction when the referee didn't give it. I thought, you know what, we're seeing the petulant side of Bruno. He got himself that needless yellow card. I can understand the frustration, but because of the occasion, I'm dreading it. I'm thinking the worst now. I'm like, oh, here we go. If he's already got a yellow now, then he's going to be lucky to make it through the rest of the game. But he actually stepped up and showed a captain's performance for once, in the way he conducted himself for the rest of the game, and the unity in the squad and the way they all fought for each other. Oh, it was incredible.
Well, I wouldn't say for once because he did it in the previous game as well at Anfield. That was also a captain's performance, as we acknowledged last week. Uh, but yeah, I just didn't see us holding on with 10 men, especially when we conceded
Hmm.
almost right away after Dallo was sent off. But somehow we did it, and they they missed chances in every possible way you can think of. Not just poor finishing, but good saves, clearances off the line, last ditch blocks from Harry Maguire and Delicta. It was just they're just laying siege to our
Oh,
goal.
both of them were superb yesterday, Carl. Both Delit and Maguire. Obviously, I think they played to Maguire's strengths as well. But yeah, I can't stop talking about it. What a turnaround! And this is a guy that I have criticised for many years, and he's just got the right attitude. He just put his head down and got on with it. And yeah, yeah, we're starting to see what he's all about now.
He's almost kind of undroppable at the back now, Maguire, the way he's playing. Um, I think he must have played maybe was it 104 minutes yesterday plus all the added time. That there was so much added time, and
Yeah.
at the end of there was 5 minutes at the end of the first half. I think there was 7 minutes at
And
the
I'll
end of the
tell
second
you
half.
what, I was impressed with even more. By way of Andy Mitten, I was also hearing that Maguire wasn't feeling well and he was ill for the last couple of days, but he insisted on playing.
Yeah, he had flu during the weekend. He missed 2 days training, but he made himself available. There's so many times we've heard that a United player is ill and he's not travelled. But
Hmm.
Maguire was so determined to play and was so glad that he did. He was winning every single header. He seemed to be making blocks all over the place, interceptions. It was not a penalty that was given against him. That was an absolute joke of a decision.
Oh, it was insane! It was insane. But justice was served though with that one. Because yeah, no chance. I thought the player went looking for it as well. I thought there's no way that that's a pen, but obviously, no VAR or anything either, and it's given. Uh, but then the man of the moment stepped up.
I just was so angry with that referee yesterday.
He
And you
was
said,
so bad.
do you see if you in the first half he doesn't give a free kick to Bruno Fernandes, as you
Hmm.
mentioned earlier? If you don't think that is a free kick, but
Yeah.
you think the Maguire so-called challenge on Havertz is a penalty, so one or two things have to be true. Either you're completely biased or you're a bollocks referee. And
Probably both, to be fair. No, because honestly, it was terrible. He was handing out cards like confetti as well. Even after we went round down to 10, I thought, you know what, we could probably go down to 9 here, the way it's going.
yeah, mostly blue shirts getting booked. Not many white
Yeah,
shirts
yeah.
were getting yellow cards.
No, it was mostly us. Yeah.
And even all the small free kicks, it was all going their way.
Hmm.
Everything was given to Arsenal on the day. That's the way I felt. And yeah, and probably Bruno's petulance doesn't help because it probably makes the referee dislike him.
Yeah.
Um, I just felt, yeah, whether it was the big decisions or the minor decisions, we weren't getting anything. When even when players were like kind of winning the ball in a tackle, they was get free kicked Arsenal. And this, the fact that we won and we're still complaining about the referee tells you how bad he is. This is not sour grapes because we lost. We won and we still think he's an absolute
No,
dickhead.
definitely, because we can't have this happening. Not in our game, not in any game. The levels need to rise, so it's important that we highlight things like this. And also the VAR thing, man. That we need, like, there needs to be. Um,
I tell you what, yesterday showed what it would be like without VAR because there was none.
yeah,
Could you imagine this clown taking charge of a game
yeah,
every week and making these decisions?
yeah. It needs to be a level playing field in the cup competitions and the league. You can't have it different in each thing.
No, that makes absolutely no sense. The
Yeah.
reason why there's no VAR in the third round of the cup is because they can't have it at certain grounds, like Tamworth, for example. So
Mm,
they want to have it as a level playing field.
mm,
I can understand where they're coming from there, but yeah, it just seems insane that you have United against Arsenal and there's no VAR because that referee just made a complete mess of that game yesterday. And luckily, justice was done. I seen
mm,
United were putting it out on their socials using the word justice. It's not normal for United to be so controversial like that because I actually
yeah.
heard from the BBC that the FA are not going to take action against United for that post. It's,
Hmm.
normally United are very very careful with what they put out on social media for them to claim that there's been an injustice by a referee is a break from social media tradition at Manchester United, which is quite interesting. Normally other clubs get into trouble for the things they say on social media, but United on this occasion, yeah, they just simply tweeted justice after the game was over.
Hmm.
So I like the our social media pages having a bit of character for a change because normally they're quite dull and boring with the things they
Yeah,
go
yeah.
for.
Maybe they've wised up to that. Because I'll tell you what, I don't know who the hell runs the Domino Pizza pages, but they're always on point when it comes to football. which is a bit strange.
And Specsavers as well. They're always
Yeah,
was have an opinion, and they had
yeah, because they were trolling Kai Havertz, and I was like, wow, shouldn't you lot be selling pizzas?
yeah, and the Specsavers were trolling the referee. I
Mm.
seen on Twitter as well. So so many things to talk about in this game. I mean, there's 120 minutes, and there's a lot of stoppage time at the end of each half, and at
Hmm.
the end of the each half of extra time as well. So there must have been about 140 minutes worth of football there. It was absolute madness.
Yeah, there was so much for. I was knackered by the end of it. And that's just us
Yeah,
watching. Could you imagine being out there? Um, and then yeah, I keep going on about the unity of the players. Oh, I love the way that Ugarte and all the rest of the boys got stuck in. It gave us flashbacks to the old days, didn't it? Yeah, not that I encourage violence or anything, but I like it. You know, when it flares up a little bit and
yeah.
they're all up for it.
You don't mind that, but they have to be careful not to get sent off either.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's a fine balance between the two. So that was great. So yeah, it was mostly the defensive players that stood out to me. But aside from that, you already touched on it. Shout out to Xerxes, man. We've been harsh with Xerxes, um, oftentimes rightly so. And then yesterday, he actually came on and made a difference. Um, Again, like obviously the goal scoring element is lacking from his game, but I thought he made a real difference when he came on yesterday. He was very unlucky with that one ball he played into Ahmad. Had he released it slightly earlier, it would have been better. But yeah, he sent Saliba to the chip shop.
Yeah, do you know what I've noticed? I've noticed a pattern. Hoyland and Xerxes both play well when they come off the bench,
When they come
but
off the pitch. Yeah,
neither play well when they start.
no, no, and
Bit
that's
of
the
a
thing. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Rasmus. I mean, he might as well have worn a Fitbit out there. I just felt like he was just, getting his cardio numbers in.
Yeah, he wasn't very good. He just could not hold the ball up at all.
No.
Um, Nigel often makes the critique that he's no more cues. Yeah, so Xerxes was a big improvement when he came on.
Yeah.
Um, Another person I want to give a shout out to is Toby Collier,
Yes.
who ran his socks off, and that's what you'd
Hmm.
expect from him because we've seen him do that before. He was the perfect man when you're down to 10 men. Everybody has to work hard, and you're constantly chasing the ball. He was the right man for that situation, so that was a brilliant call by Ruben Amorim to bring him on. And notice that Casemiro and Ericsson were not brought on at any stage in that game.
Yeah, no, it was the right decision. Yeah, the young man's got something to prove, full of energy and that, and yeah, it shows. Um, the other two, I mean, let's see how the window goes, right? We're probably hoping that they can move on.
Yeah, and I had to say that I was concerned that Garnacho was not going to fit into this system, but
Mm,
his cameo at Anfield and his start yesterday, and
hmm.
obviously getting that brilliant assist for Bruno Fernandes, shows me that he can adapt to this system. So there's hope yet that he might fit into Ruben Amorim's plans in one of those roaming 10 roles. Um,
Definitely. That little cutback was lovely. The assist, and yeah, that's the thing. Because I was telling people about this actually because you know, I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, we should sell him," and others that don't fit the system. But you have to be like a Swiss Army knife. You can't just get rid of all wingers and just have like inside forwards and tens. Just because there will be times in which you have to adapt and change a little bit. And obviously he's come up through the academy as well. So I can't really see a situation in which both him and Rashford leave around the same time.
no,
So
especially when we're talking about Napoli offering £38 million. Get away.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Go away with that. Yeah, go away. Especially when, well, I mean, they're negotiating for Kvaratskhelia, aren't they? PSG, and I think they're holding out for around £67 million.
Yeah, £67 million would buy Garnacho's right foot.
So yeah, I was actually surprised. I thought they would want a bit more. So that translates to about 80 million euros. I know Kvaratskhelia has got a release clause of like 130 or something. So yeah, I was a little bit surprised actually that they're willing to negotiate at that price.
Yeah, seems like there's going to be a number of big transfers mid-season, which is very unusual for January. But
Yeah, it's a bit rare, isn't it? Yeah.
so we talked about Maguire and how brilliant he was, and how brilliant
Mhm.
he has been in the last 18 months after 2 years of turmoil, and
Yeah.
what strength of character that he showed to come back from that. He was being lampooned for 2 years, mocked, and booed by his own supporters while on in pre-season tours, and he's came back and just, I think once he's released of that captain's armband, he just got
Yeah.
his form back again, didn't
A
he?
huge weight off his shoulders. I just feel like, yeah, once you put all of that weight of expectation away, like he's just got on with it. And I'll tell you what, even at the start of last summer, when he turned down West Ham, and we were all a little bit annoyed at that. But yeah, credit to him. Credit to him. Some of us question the reasons for him wanting to stay as well, knowing that he's not in the first team picture and that he's a rotation option. And is he just here for the money and all of that kind of stuff? But
No.
credit to him.
The manager has said that we're starving for leaders, and that's why Maguire is staying for another season,
Yeah.
at least.
I hope he doesn't reinstate him though, because I do think that armband was a curse for Harry.
Yeah, I could, I couldn't envisage a Portuguese manager taking the captain's armband off Bruno
Hmm.
while he's still at the club. But then
Yeah.
again, he can be ruthless, so we never know. But Bruno himself put in another excellent performance yesterday, and that goal was just world class.
Yeah, yeah, it was brilliant finish. Brilliant finish. Well picked out as well.
And if you look, he curls it around the defender and just squeezes it
Hmm.
inside the post. Keeper has absolutely no chance, and he just hits it first time. He didn't take a touch. That really annoys me sometimes when players take a touch
Hmm.
when there's a cutback, or they're inside the penalty area and they take a touch. Just
I tell
shoot,
you what, when
just
the
shoot.
finish is like that, you don't mind. Um, when they hit it first time and it misses, I get annoyed. In those instances, I'm like, oh, you really should have taken another touch. There was no need for you to rush there. But yeah, it was a magical moment. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think the way I see it is that if you've got lots of space, you can take another touch. But
Hmm.
I think he has one opportunity there to shoot, because if he takes another touch, probably gets blocked by a defender. But
Yep.
yeah, he shoots first time, and he could not have hit it any sweeter, right in front of the United fans too.
Hmm.
And I felt that we were going to win the game if it was 11v11
Hmm.
in the 90 minutes. But Dallo
Hmm.
obviously ruined that. He gets his first booking after like 49 minutes, because he lunged in on the right hand side of the penalty area, and he got there second, and he gets a yellow card because, as you said, the referee was card happy, so he was definitely going to be booked for that. So what do you have to do, especially when you're 1-0 up, is just stay on your feet. He couldn't do that.
Absolutely. There was no reason for him to dive in like that on, I think, was it Mikel Marino, was it, that he dived in on?
Yeah,
Um, he was under no pressure there. There was no reason at that time that he should have went for that. I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah, I was so pissed off in that moment, because I felt as if
Yeah.
we're in a winning position in an FA Cup game
I'll
against
tell you
Arsenal.
what it reminded me of. It reminded me of Nani against Real Madrid, um, 2013, because that it was one of those where we were like, in control, and then that sending off completely turned the game on its head. And as soon as Dallo got sent off, we were up against it. We were, under the cosh, and then it was just a bombardment, just a barrage of attacks.
Yeah, and they scored within about 2 minutes, and I thought, now
Yeah.
we're gonna lose 3 or 4-1 here now.
Yeah, yeah, and with that one initially as well, I know it took a deflection, but I didn't see how much of a deflection, and I was like, oh no, like from one angle, I was like, oh no, has Bayindir had one here? As is he doing his best Onana impression? Could he not have reached it at all? Because it didn't look like he moved. And then at that stage, you're thinking, oh, we're just trying to hold on here.
Yeah, it took a wicked deflection of
Hmm.
Delict and changed direction, so I think the
Yeah,
goalkeeper
unfortunate.
really.
Yeah.
But but Delict had a really good game as well. Had two
Hmm.
incidents that really stand out: is the diving block to prevent Declan Rice from scoring, and
Yep.
then of course the clearance off the line.
On
How
the
did
yeah,
he dig that out from 1 yard out and put it?
yeah, incredible stuff, wasn't it? Him and Maguire, superb.
because
Um,
he was under pressure from Trossard. He's running
yep.
back towards his own goal, and somehow he digs it out and gets it, puts it out for a corner, and he's like 1 yard away from the goal line. You know,
Hmm.
Smalling or Jones would have tucked that away into the back of the net.
Jonesy would have made some funny faces whilst doing it as well.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, what an amazing display from 10 men.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what Roy Keane would say. Dallo can find his own way home. He's not getting on the plane. um, yeah,
Shout out to Euro as well. He came on as well and he did all right.
and
Um,
scored a penalty too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you know what? That was one of the pens that I was nervous about. But yeah, shout out to him. Cool, calm, and collected.
To be honest, I was confident about Bruno and Ahmad. After that, I was nervous about the rest of them because
I tell you what, I thought it took big balls to give Xerxes the final penalty.
yeah, and he scored. Which I'm delighted about, given everything that's
Yeah.
happened recently, and and obviously it was a chance to win.
Hmm.
It would have been devastating if Xerxes spurned the chance to win the
Yes,
tie.
definitely, definitely. But I thought the manager played an absolute blinder in terms of all of the decisions from start to finish. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Every substitute and every penalty taker that was selected was
hmm.
the right call. Although he was quick to praise his coaches for selecting the penalty takers, he didn't.
Yeah.
He said that was nothing to do with me. Um, so they, we obviously, well, me anyway, I was nervous about two defenders, a rookie
Hmm.
defender and Xerxes taking a penalty, but they had obviously seen them take penalties in training and thought these were the
Yeah,
right players to take those penalties, and they were right because they were all excellent spot kicks. I
definitely.
felt they all were, apart from Havertz, of course. He had to be the one.
Yeah,
The rest
it
of them,
had to be him, innit? It had to be him after the game he had. Oh my days! Thank goodness for us, because
even
yeah,
it was
absolute calamity.
there's an Arsenal fan that texted me when Havertz was stepping up saying he's missing.
I'll tell you what, because I was watching that game against Newcastle last week, and the header that he missed there, oh, that was a sign of things to come.
Oh, he
That
shouldered
was a
it.
sign.
He, sh-
Yeah, that was a sign of things to come. Because I was thinking, I saw that, and I was like, damn, if they had a proper striker, that's a goal.
Yeah, and the one in the game yesterday where he's about 2 yards out and he hooks it over the bar and
Yeah,
his left foot.
I'll tell you what, Alexander Isak showed everything they were missing when they played each other last week.
Yeah, I really don't understand why they haven't replaced Abanyang and he left 3 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, if you go back to the only trophy which Arteta has won as Arsenal manager in
Mm.
2020, the FA Cup, Abanyang got 2 goals in the semi-final and 2 goals in the final. Uh,
Yeah, because that was largely the Unai Emery team that he left behind, wasn't it? So
yeah,
yeah, yeah. So he won the FA Cup with that, and then proceeded to spend the last 5 years building a team in his image, um, and
without a striker.
without a striker. Yeah, and the best way I can describe what they're doing at the moment is I've been trolling a few of my Arsenal mates with it. I've been calling them sexy Stoke,
That's what they are.
which is what they've become after 700 million spent.
That reminds me. I thought we coped with their set pieces brilliantly yesterday. They just
Yes, yes, that nonsense from corners as well. Oh,
Yeah, we defended those corners extremely well. I felt they obviously didn't score from any of them. They must have had about
hmm.
20 of them across the.
I'll tell you what, that's one thing the referee did do yesterday. He did, try and cut out that nonsense from corners as well. Make sure the keeper wasn't impeded. He had to have a
Yeah,
word more than once.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and it's quite sweet that we beat Dark Arts FC.
Hmm.
Um, I guess did you notice even Gabrielle and Saliba, if they anyone dares to even tackle them, they go down holding their ankle, rolling around. You're like, this is like
Yeah.
playing a this is like playing a South American team.
Hmm.
And then when Dallo gets sent off, you've got Martinelli trying to drag him off the pitch. And you're like, I can't stand that arrogance. And
Yeah.
it just that made the victory even sweeter. They're just not a likable team at all. The manager is a
Hmm.
mouthpiece. Yeah, it was a bit of a throwback to 20 years ago,
Yeah.
not just in the sense of the beef between the players and the almost coming to blows at one point, but it was an FA Cup match against Arsenal that was away from Old Trafford.
Hmm.
Um, we got a man sent off. Arsenal missed a penalty, and we went through. It had so many elements to it that were similar to the 1999 semi-final.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Hopefully, it culminates in the same thing. I'll tell you what, it should definitely give the players and everyone around the club a boost. And I think that's probably the first time we've seen a back-to-back performances that we can be proud of. So all eyes are going to be on Southampton now to make sure they can maintain it, and it's not just against the bigger opposition.
like since December the 15th, we have played City away, Arsenal away, and Liverpool away, and didn't lose any of those games. You wouldn't have thought that,
Yep.
would you?
No, no, absolutely not. So this is the thing. Um, we've got that side of the thing sorted. So now it's on to the teams that you should be beating. We just need to make sure that we're just as motivated and we take the same attitude and determination into those games.
Yeah, Southampton not only has to be a victory, it has to be a convincing victory now.
Oh
Um,
yeah, it's imperative. There's no excuses. No excuses. You have to
these
win that.
these are the bread and butter fixtures that we have to be
Mhm.
using to get points on the board, because obviously, despite playing well against Liverpool and Arsenal, one was in the cup and one was still only a draw. So we still need to get points on the board, and beating Southampton and Brighton at home would be a really good start. But yeah, yesterday was absolutely masterful from the players and the manager. And I have to say that I'm really looking forward to the player ratings.
Yes.
Because these are going to be some of the best scores of the whole season. I have to
Yeah.
say. Um, Yeah, even Ugarte had a brilliant game again yesterday.
Mhm.
I just love his combativeness as well. How he's willing to get stuck in.
Like I said last week, I need him to get that number 16 in the summer.
Yeah, yeah. And Ahmad maybe get the 7 or something.
Yeah, yeah, give him a lower number as well. But yeah, that needs to be sorted.
Yeah, the Mazrahi was absolutely excellent again yesterday.
Hmm.
And even when he made a mistake, he chases back and wins the ball back again.
Yes, yes, that dogged determination. Love to see that.
Did you see Arsenal? I think we had a corner. It ended up in the hands of Raya, and then he takes a
Hmm.
quick throw out, and then Arsenal two vertical passes on their way. But there's like six blue shirts
Yep,
sprinting back,
yep.
and and eventually we make the challenge, and Toby Collier clears it. So I love
Hmm.
that determination to get back, and work for the team. And
And I love that we kept trying as well. Like even when we were under pressure, and they were just bombarding us. Like we still didn't just try to soak up pressure. We tried to hit them on the counter whenever we could.
yeah, we did. We had a couple of chances on the counter,
Hmm.
and when he made the Terrell Malacia for Ugarte sub, I was just bewildered. But
Hmm.
somehow it worked out. They just this manager sees stuff that we don't see.
Yeah.
And
And that's always a brilliant thing, because that's a key thing in management. Because Fergie used to do that all the time. There'll be certain times when I saw the team sheet and I was like, oh, why is Phil Neville there? Or why is he doing this? And it didn't automatically make sense. But then we saw it, and you understand why the manager is the manager and why he gets paid the big bucks.
yeah, definitely. Um, he he's really proven himself at the moment and shown what a excellent coach he is. And
And it's just really refreshing, Carl. Whenever we hear him speak, just his level of honesty and critique and everything, it's brilliant.
yeah, I think the media love him. He handles the media very well. He's
Yeah.
great. The total opposite to his predecessor. He wasn't really much of a talker.
No, no, that's the thing. Complete polar opposites.
But communication is everything in management.
It
Uh,
really is. It really is.
yeah, so this is yesterday on Anfield just reinforced my belief that Ruben Amorim is the
Hmm.
man and who's going to deliver the 21st title at Old Trafford.
Absolutely. I think when I saw yesterday's performance as well, I was just like, you know what? Just get this manager some players that he wants. Like I'm so eager to just see people that fit his system. Um, I think I'm most excited to see wingbacks
Mm.
because wingbacks are such a big thing in his system. With two competent wingbacks, I would really like to see how we flourish.
Yeah, although in a lot of games, unless you're playing one of the weapon boys like Southampton, you
Hmm.
probably, when he has a squad in his image, in a lot of games against more difficult opponents, he might have an attacking wing back and then a more defensive one. So
Hmm.
if we had like a really offensive left wing back, you can see a scenario where Mizrahi does play at right wing back, because
Yeah.
you don't want to have two attackers and leave yourself too exposed at the back whenever you lose the ball. But against, if we're playing Southampton, which we won't be next season, let's face it,
Mm.
but if we're playing like a relegation threatened team, we would probably be bold enough then to play two attacking wing backs on either side. So um, we still will need to reserve the option to play a more defensive one on one side. But the last thing you want is to have two defensive wing backs in any game, and that's what we've been operating with in the last few weeks. But having said that, I thought um, Dallow had played well, but I think at Anfield, Trent was making him look good, whereas
Hmm.
yesterday he wasn't quite as impactful, and obviously he got himself sent off as well, which wasn't helpful at all. Which showed a real lack of football IQ. You just can't dive in like that when you're winning the game. It's on the halfway line. You've just no need to do that.
Exactly. Especially on such an occasion as well. You need to be so self-aware.
I'd love to know what the reaction was when they were. I think they got a plane home to Manchester, even though they got the
Hmm.
train. They got the train down to London, and then got a plane home, and they were back at 10 p.m. in Manchester. And apparently there was fans waiting for them at the airport, and but none of the players um took time out to sign autographs or anything. And but Amorim did, and he was asked why did none of the players stop, and he said they're tired and they're going home to rest ahead of an important game in midweek. So,
Hmm.
so that was understandable and the right thing to say by the manager. And it's great that the manager took time to stop with the fans
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the airport. It just shows you how fanatical some people are, that after an away game in London, fans
Hmm.
will then congregate at Manchester Airport waiting for them to get back on their private plane. That's I couldn't imagine doing that even if I lived in Manchester.
Same. Uh, and it's funny you mentioned autographs. I got you reminded me of something else I saw on the timeline of Pep Guardiola having a go at a bunch of fans because they were just there with so many things for him to sign, and he was yeah. I was totally with him on this one, and he was just telling them like to go study and do other things with their time because it was a nonsense. I can understand if it's one, if you're there with one thing for yourself, but clearly when you've got loads of things for him to sign, you're just trying to sell this stuff on.
Yeah, they were professional autograph hunters. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible stuff.
they're just annoying and
Hmm.
yeah, should be banned.
They really should be because they spoil it for the regular fans and the kids.
Yeah,
Like it got to a point where honestly, I think they should just be allocated times. Unfortunately, and also it should really be for the young kids, shouldn't it?
definitely. And but the idea of Guardiola losing it there—that's really funny.
Yeah, yeah. Because I remember it also reminded me. I got really annoyed when we signed Mason Mount, and there was a bunch of guys that were following him outside the ground,
Yeah, that's right.
and it didn't look too good. Yeah, I don't like players getting bombarded like that, especially when they're vulnerable as well. No security or anything.
Yeah, these people are just looking to sell these
Hmm.
signed products on eBay and to make money. Like, just get a real job, will you? Um,
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Pep actually gave them some sound advice.
yeah.
Even I was motivated. I was like, oh,
Well, that's his job, isn't it, to motivate people?
yeah, 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 yeah. So it's pretty good.
Um, I have to say, I was absolutely enjoying the meltdown from Arsenal YouTube yesterday.
Oh, yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah, the timeline is full of Arsenal tears, and long may it continue.
And even on the way home last night, I was listening
Yeah,
to Talk Sport and all the Arsenal fans phoning in to have
yeah.
a rant. They're
Hmm.
ranting and raving about our
Yeah,
tech.
yeah, yeah. The thing is, you know what? From their perspective, I can sort of see it. I can understand where they're coming from. They've only got themselves to blame for not winning yesterday.
And then yeah, you know your man Troops used to be on Arsenal fan TV.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he's lost his mind. Yeah, yeah,
And he calls everybody blood and fam, and
yeah, yeah.
it always cracks me up. Leave my club, blood. Leave my club, blood.
Oh,
Yeah,
tear out now. It was funny. I mean, five
yeah,
years in, 700 million spent. I don't know. I think surely now, I don't know if they. I understand they probably need to change their transfer policy, uh, but surely you give him like one more summer.
yeah. I don't really know where else would they go,
Mm.
But he's not
Yeah,
earning.
but you'd have to totally rip it up now if you get rid of him now, because he's built a squad. The only thing missing now really is a bit of quality. So now they need to go and change their transfer policy and go sign like an Isak or someone that can take them to the next level.
Yeah, because without Saka, they don't have very much in the forward line in terms of
Yeah,
goals. I
yeah,
think.
that's the thing. Yeah, there's an over reliance on Saka up top. And yet Kai Havertz simply isn't a striker. They need to stop this pep nonsense with the false nine and whatever it is that they're trying to do, and just do the simple things. But I don't think they're too far off it though. Like he has built a team that's very physical. I know we joke about sexy Stoke and all of that, but in the league you do need a team that's dominant and physical, which they are now.
And that's why they resort to set pieces and dark arts because they
Hmm.
haven't got much up front, especially when Saka is missing.
Yeah,
They,
exactly. Yeah, so that really needs fixing.
I don't know how a manager can be in post for 5 years and not address the striker issue. I just
Yeah, Gabriel Jesus is the only striker he signed, which is madness.
and one, he's not an out and out striker,
Nope.
and two, he's always injured.
He's injured half the time, so yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Martinelli as well, like he's talented, but probably more of a rotation option than a starter. I know a lot of
Yeah,
Arsenal fans on the timeline. I saw this week they were quite pissed off as well at the Kvaratskhelia thing. And I was speaking to one or two Arsenal fans about that actually, um, and they were particularly irked because you remember how ferociously they chased um, Mudryk a couple seasons back before he went to Chelsea, um, and I believe it was more money that he went for than what Kvaratskhelia is allegedly going for now.
why do they keep chasing wingers? They need a striker.
Well, on this instance, I can understand they probably need that he would be a definite upgrade on Martinelli. So yeah, I understand it.
Yeah,
But yeah, they do need a striker though.
remember they were telling us how great Martinelli is. So he's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all come crashing down now.
yeah, he used to say he's better than Rashford. He's better than
Mhm,
Garnacho. Um,
mhm.
you're like, yeah, how'd that go? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, they were ranting about Mikel Moreno as well.
Mhm.
I noticed that online. They weren't happy with the money that they spent on him. They felt that he was
No.
absolutely rubbish yesterday. Um, yeah, it was so great to see how annoyed they were at that result yesterday. People try to say the FA Cup doesn't mean anything. I'm not so sure because both
Yeah.
teams.
Listen, oldest cup competition, isn't it? Yeah, I've always felt it was quite special. To be fair. And I saw one of your tweets earlier in the day as well, Carl. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Like we don't do it the easy way in the FA Cup. We don't really get the rub of the green when it comes to the draws as well. We always have to do it the hard way.
Yeah, three of our last four FA Cup ties have been against City, Arsenal, and Liverpool, and
Yeah, yeah.
we've come through all of them. But time and time again, every year for the first few rounds of the FA Cup,
Mm.
City get drawn against all these pub teams that nobody's heard of.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Even when I was watching the draw yesterday, I mean, Liverpool got Plymouth Argyle in the next round.
yeah, City gets Salford City AFC,
Hmm.
and then they think they're playing the winner of Leighton Orient and Derby County in the next round. City.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, how
But
would
then
you?
again, I'll tell you what. I was watching Tamworth Tottenham yesterday, and boy, they they gave Tottenham a game. It took till extra time for them to
Yeah,
be broken down.
and then a really unlucky own goal for the.
Very unlucky. Yeah, yeah. But shout out to the guy that was man of the match though. It was the Tamworth player that was man of the match. and his day job is a plumber.
Yeah, it's no wonder Tottenham players weren't celebrating because they must have been embarrassed to take that long to beat Tamworth.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But yeah, but ties like that though really just highlight the beauty of this cup competition for me. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. But it feels as if we very rarely, I know we got Newport last season, but it seems we very rarely get these ties
Hmm.
against lower league opposition. Um, we all seem to get Premier League teams, and even in the next round, yes, I know it's Leicester at home, we should win that, but again, it's Premier League opposition. We just don't seem
Yep.
to be able to get many ties against lower league teams. Um, yeah, I was just delighted with how things turned out yesterday, and I have to say that you know I was thinking to myself, even if we somehow get the full time here at 1-1, we are not going to see this out for another 30 minutes, but we did.
Yeah, yeah, that was the other thing that was very impressive. But yeah, again, I keep going back to it, just the teamwork and the unity, the fact that they're all fighting for each other. Um, and you can tell as well when there's genuine belief in those players that they have faith in the manager and his instructions and stuff. So that's quite cool to
Yeah,
see.
getting those results in big games
Yeah, and
is
I'll tell
so
you what was
important.
really cool as well, even at the end in celebrations, I saw Anana hugging Bayindir as well. And things like that are important. That shows a certain level of unity in the squad.
Yeah, well, he can't complain because he plays 99% of the game,
Hmm.
so he should be happy that his colleague gets one moment, you know, in the spotlight, and should be happy for him because he's waited a long time for a chance. I think finally yesterday we seen. No, we were wondering why did we sign this goalkeeper? What
Mm.
qualities does he bring to
Hmm.
the table? What I have noticed is that he has the the pure goalkeeping qualities. He can
Yep.
save shots, save penalties, but his kicking is
Oh,
leaves a lot to be desired.
the kicking is atrocious.
Yeah, it's even worse than De Gea.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's so bad.
and yeah, coming for crosses isn't
Hmm.
great. I mean, for the Arsenal goal, he didn't get much distance on that punch, and I think it was Gabriel who scored with the deflected shot. At that point, I think, oh, he's going to have another mare here, but no, he thought he was superb, and a lot of the corners and crosses that were coming in, he was catching them, and then just obviously lying down to waste a few seconds because that's what we needed. We needed a breather, obviously, because we're constantly under the cosh. But yeah, I was pleased for him as an individual, and glad that he played so well because he needed to, because especially when you're part of 10 men that are under the cosh against one of the top teams in the Premier League. Your
Hmm.
goalkeeper needs to have a good game. Your goalkeeper cannot have a bad game in those circumstances. But another thing I have to mention with regards to the penalties, they actually, the Odegaard penalty and the Havertz penalty in the shootout, they weren't really bad penalties. They were just really good saves.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I've seen a few replays of them now, and they're not central. Those those shots are going into the corner, yet he's
Yeah,
been able to save them. And
yeah. With Odegaard, I thought it was a bit harsh for some Arsenal fans because I know they were questioning why he was the one that took the penalty, and I didn't think it was too bad actually, the penalty itself. And then the fact that, yeah, I think it showed a level of resilience as well. The fact that he was willing to step up in the shootout as well, having missed one.
yeah, he went to the other side in the shootout and scored.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
thankfully,
But yeah, no, it was more so just on the goalkeeper and his brilliance.
yeah, it was. And yeah, Havertz was the one that I wanted to take a penalty because I fancied
Mm.
if anyone's going to miss on the Arsenal team, it was going to be him.
When he stepped up, I was just thinking, I was like, nah, there's no way. After the performance he's had, there's no way he can miss a penalty as well. And he did.
Ye-
Just to cap off a horrible, horrible night for him.
and then he was the only person who missed in the whole
Hmm.
shootout. Yeah, so he must feel like shit today after that.
Yeah.
But the manager's hanging him out to dry by playing him out of position.
Exactly. It's one of those ones. I do feel a bit sorry for him because it's not really his fault.
When you
Some
think
of
of
them are gilt-edged chances, but at the end of the day, he's not a striker.
if you think of where he was playing for Chelsea in 2021, winning the Champions
Mhm.
League, scoring in the final. But he was playing as a number 10. He's
Yep.
just not. He's not a striker. So, but was so glad that he was playing as a striker yesterday again.
Mhm.
So player ratings time,
Mhm.
and so Bayindir don't often get the chance to give him a rating, and I'm going to say a 9 out of 10 for saving a crucial penalty during the game and in the shootout, and he was the match winner. I think he even got at the end of normal time. He was given man of the match already at that stage because he obviously made two
Yeah.
excellent stops to stop Declan Rice from scoring.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, so Delict, he has to say the clearance off the line somehow Manson directed out for a corner from like 1 yard out under pressure from Trossard, and the block preventing Rice from scoring a certain goal. And yeah, so give him an 8 out of 10. Harry Maguire, just a colossus at the back. He was everywhere. He was dominating any ball that was coming in to our penalty area. He was either heading it clear, he was tackling, intercepting, diving blocks. It's just everything you'd want from a defender. And as
Mhm.
I say, in a back three is really going to suit him because he excelled there for
Yep.
England and Leicester. And yeah, so when you think of it like that, it's not a surprise that the manager is taken to him and feels that
Mhm.
he will fit into the system. So a 9 for Harry Maguire. Um, Martinez scoring a penalty and another improvement on he had bad games against the likes of Forest and I think there was another bad game I can't remember against who it was, but an improvement at Anfield and improvement today. So I give him a 7 out of 10.
And
And
he's another one, Carl. When he was stepping up for the pen as well, I had my doubts.
so did
But yeah,
I. So did I. Yeah.
I thought he might blast it over or something. But yeah, no, it was very good. Very good. The little step over thing as well, and just yeah, so calm.
I felt he'd go for power and then might go over the bar, but
Yeah.
he placed it just down the middle, didn't he? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He went for the little dink as well with the little what Bruno used to do.
yeah. Um,
Also, we have to highlight as well what was Raya doing throughout the shootout. It's like he was diving early and just diving for the sake of diving. It was crazy.
I thought he was good at saving penalties, but
Yeah,
now I'm questioning my own knowledge, or did he just have a stinker?
yeah. He might have just yeah. It was really weird. He was diving early. It was like he had already just predetermined. He just made up his mind which way he was going to go and just dove that way, uh, with not too much thought in it.
Did he dive the right way for any of our penalties?
I don't think so.
No,
I
he
don't
didn't.
think he did.
That's amazing. Um, Mazrahi, yeah, another solid 7 out of 10. He's never anything less than that, is he? Really? In
hmm
the vast majority of games.
Yeah, yeah, rock steady Eddie, Mr. Consistency this season.
Yeah, and Diogo Dallo.
Ah,
I'm sorry, but it has to be a 1 for
yeah.
what he did there. We won yesterday, not because of him, but in spite of him.
hmm
So it has to be a very low score, and he will miss the Southampton game now. So it'll be interesting to see who the manager selects in at wing back, and with him not being available. Uh, Igarte, another fantastic performance in a big game in midfield. He's exactly the man you need a DM, and he's just fully keeping Casemiro out of the team. Casemiro's not getting a kick
Yep.
anymore. We finally signed a DM of the right age profile, and not
hmm
someone who's 30, 31, and on the way down. I think it was interesting what Andy Mitten was saying, that Real Madrid players see whenever they're not quite, when they realize they're not quite as good anymore,
hmm
they realize they can go to Old Trafford and get paid more than what they are at Madrid.
mm
So that was, I didn't name any names, but that's quite worrying that we're seen as a retirement home for Real Madrid players, but no more, I hope. And where Rigarte was a 23-year-old when we signed him, and that's
Yep.
the sort of age that we should be looking at.
No, definitely, definitely. That's certainly the age profile. Like for the next 5 years, that position is sorted. Minimum 5 years, probably longer.
Yeah, probably longer. Seven then for Ugarte and Koi Manu. Yeah, another really good performance from him, and needed to be, and he would get a solid 7 out of 10 as well. And Alejandro Garnacho, of course, getting that wonderful assist and actually working his socks off, which is
Hmm.
wonderful to see as well. Um, yeah, he would get a 7 from me. Rasmus Højlund, disappointing, not able to hold the ball up all afternoon, and just a headless chicken out there. And when he was replaced, we improved, and Xerxes was a massive improvement on him.
He's just not a starting striker, is he? Bless him.
No, I don't think either of them are. I think question for the manager: we will definitely sign a striker, a goal scoring
Yep.
striker in the summer. The question for the manager is which one is he going to keep as backup? That's not an easy question to answer at the moment.
No, it really isn't. Obviously, with Zaxi, he offers you something totally different, which you don't have.
Yeah, so not the first time that Xerxes had an impact on the bench, but so that's something to consider going forward. But
Mm,
let's see. Um, although albeit in the Victoria Pilsen game, I think Hoyland scored twice from the bench. I think so.
yeah, yeah. In Europe, I think he's got like 5 goals. He's doing the
Yeah,
business.
like just like last season, he scored more goals in Europe
Yeah,
than he is in the league.
yeah,
Um, so Hoyland would get a 4 for his performance. Bruno Fernandes, another captain's display, should have had a free kick on the edge of the box in the first half where his boot came
yep,
off. I
yep.
mean, and then he threw the boot down in
Hmm.
frustration, and then, but yeah, I understand. You know, you want to show your frustration when you don't get an
Yep,
obvious decision for about 5 seconds, and then just move on. You don't keep it
yeah.
going for another 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, that's definitely what it is. You could see that the red mist had built, and then from there it can go either way, right? And this season, given what we've seen of him, I was dreading it. I was thinking the worst. I was like, oh no, he's gonna get himself sent off here. But then eventually he channeled that in the right way.
Yeah, that goal was world class.
Yep.
So I give Bruno an 8 out of 10, and because there was 100 and about 140 minutes of football and so many substitutions, I have to give ratings for subs for a change because it actually played quite a bit of time.
Hmm.
Um, so we'll go to Joshua Xerxes, and I would definitely give him a 7 for his impact on scoring
Yep.
the penalty, and just love that double nutmeg on William Saliba, which left him on his hole. And
Definitely. Like he was a proper handful for them. They didn't really know how to deal with him. And then yeah, one or two of the things he tried to do, I liked. There was the one shot, but it took a slight deflection off Gabriel, I think.
yeah,
So that
he
would
went
have been
for
great. Yeah,
he went for a side footer into the corner. I thought that was
yeah.
unusual choice of shot. I would have just
Hmm.
went for power.
Yeah, yeah. So there was that, and then I already mentioned the ball to Diallo. If you could just time that a tad better, I could see what he was trying to do.
Yeah, and Diallo himself was good when he came off the bench and
Hmm.
was a constant threat. Um,
Yeah, he's. I mean, that's what we keep saying about him, is he's just a nuisance up there, and yeah, one of the few outlets we have where yeah, consistent threat.
and just got a new contract, a new 5.5
Yep,
year contract as well, which is
happy
well deserved.
days. Do we know what wages he's on? I didn't really look into the finer details of how much he's on.
Not a clue, to be honest with you.
Okay, okay. I only asked because I know like there's been a lot of speculation as well about Kobe signing a new deal, and some of the fees I'm hearing, I'm hoping are a joke.
Yeah, he think he might is the agent maybe asking for 200 grand a week, Kobe
Yeah,
Manu.
yeah. Obviously, his agent, obviously, is in a position where he can ask for that, but we are stupid if we give it to him. But I don't think we would, though. Anyway, especially under this regime where they're cutting everyone,
What
cutting
I hope
everything down.
what I hope
Yeah,
is it's a negotiation tactic where they're aiming high and then
yeah, yeah, yeah.
hoping to meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, personally, for me, like all the young players like him, somewhere between about 60 to 80 maximum. I wouldn't be comfortable with him on over 100 at the age of 19.
Yeah, that would be a mistake.
Yeah,
We have made that mistake with Rashford. So
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully lessons are learned. And then, like I say, these lot are cutting everything, aren't they? So I can't see them paying over the odds.
yeah, I hope not.
Hmm.
So Toby Collier, he done exactly what he was asked to do, and that's come on and provide legs for United with 10 men playing against 12. The referee should have been wearing a white kit as well. And yeah, excellent from him. Done everything he was asked for, and as I said, he was the exact type of player you wanted in that situation when you're down to 10 men. A lot of noise in the background there, and um, Toby Collier, uh, 7 out of 10. Malacia, yeah, came on, did reasonably well. I think it was a really good tackle
Hmm.
on the left back position, a really good sliding challenge to put the ball out for a throw in at one point that stuck in my mind. But yeah, he done as well as he can do. I don't think he's an exceptionally talented left back, but
No.
I, I thought yesterday he didn't let us down, so I'll give him a 7. And Lenny Yarrow, yeah, it's, what a fantastic penalty by a rookie defender. Such c- calmness and composure on the pressure.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? Literally just a week on, in the Liverpool game, he had that fantastic challenge on Nunes, which was pretty well timed. And these little things I'm noticing about him at the age of 19, it really bodes well for us.
Yeah, I would love to see him get a start now against Southampton, hopefully.
Hmm.
But we're seeing a consistent back three starting games now.
Yeah.
But, I would like to see Yarrow being part of that back three. But, it's great to have options though, nonetheless. Um, so Yarrow will get a 7 as well, and I think I've went through all the subs. And so Ruben Amorim, as I said, every single substitution worked, and
Hmm.
I know he says it wasn't his choices, but every penalty taker that was selected was the right choice as well. And yeah, you know, as I said, the game plan completely went out the window when Dollar was sent off, so he had to
Hmm.
think on his
Yep.
feet there.
He had to adapt. And I'll tell you what, even for the penalty shootout, he might have not have taken any credit for that. But, you know, even delegation is a sign of good management at times.
Yeah, absolutely. He absolutely 100% trusts his coaches, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. So for him to even take that advice from the coaches on board and said, "All right, you guys just deal with it." Yeah, yeah, because
And
that
it
you
wasn't that
can.
long ago we were very critical of the constant conceding from set
Hmm.
pieces, but they've addressed that now. And
They have. Yeah.
and I noticed the goalkeeper, no matter who it is being more aggressive now. When balls are coming into the 6 yard box, he's coming out to try and punch it or claim it rather than being
Yep.
rooted to his line, which was frustrating. But yeah, Ruben Amorim would get a 9 out of 10 for that yesterday,
Hmm.
no less. Um, so we're into the next round against Leicester City
Yep.
at home, and we've already beaten them in one cup competition this year and in the league. So Ruud van Nistelrooy will be coming back to Old Trafford though this
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
of course.
That's the highlight, isn't it? Getting to see Rude again.
So in one season, he's going to be managing United against Leicester and then Leicester against United all in the same season. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's an insane amount as well. Yeah, yeah. The amount of times we're going to see Rude. But yeah, yeah. In terms of the actual draw, yeah, I think it's a pretty good one. We can't ask for much better in terms of Premier League opposition, anyway.
Yeah, the only thing easier would have been Southampton, but I don't even know.
Hmm.
Are they still in the cup? Or are they knocked out? I didn't see it. But absolutely have to beat them on Thursday evening because they are the whipping boys of the Premier League. It was
Yeah, there's no excuses to not pick up 3 points at Southampton.
Yeah, the effort and commitment we saw against Liverpool and Arsenal, we have
Yep.
to apply that to games against Southampton and Brighton.
Exactly. So this is going to be the real test now. Yeah, we know that you can rise to the occasion depending on opponent, but and the manager said it last week. This is why he was upset after the Anfield game. Like, where's this been? And that's what we need to try and get to. We need to approach every game in the same manner with the same determination.
absolutely 100%. And we went, I believe, 11 months without having a Michael Oliver as a referee until the
Mm.
Anfield game. He didn't referee us on the pitch since last February. Now, I hope we can go 11 months without getting Andy Madley in the middle in any of our games, because he was absolutely disgraceful.
Absolutely. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm sure
No,
he'll be reviewing his own performance actually after that.
I would hope so, but these
Yeah.
referees, their body language comes across as so arrogant and full of themselves. They don't
Hmm.
seem, do they even critique themselves? Because they seem to think they're brilliant referees, going by their body language.
I
Um,
wonder if some of that is just a bit of bravado for show, like as if they have
yeah,
to put up a front that that they believe 100% in what they're doing. But surely you have to reflect as well afterwards, even if it's just by yourself and think, actually, I could have done better here.
yeah. But the question is, are they even capable of better? Because I've
Mm,
been watching. Now, I'm not as familiar with him. But I've been watching Anthony Taylor and Michael Oliver for years, and not only in the Premier League but in European competitions, international tournaments, and they are abysmal referees, and they're meant to be
yeah,
the best that
yeah.
Premier League has to offer. I know what I always notice, seeing the Euros or the World Cup and Champions League, I see these French, Polish, German, Spanish, Italian
Hmm.
referees, and they're usually quite good and they're in control of games. And every time there's a mistake, a refereeing mistake in a tournament, it's the English referee.
Just the English referees, yeah. Yeah,
No,
even as you say that, I just got flashbacks to Graham Pole at the World Cup in '06.
we don't even have to go back as far as even this summer or last summer, sorry, Michael Oliver's failure to send off Rodri was unbelievable. So he gives a penalty against Rodri for a foul in the box, which denied a goal, clear goal scoring opportunity, but he doesn't send him off. You know,
Hmm.
this goes back to the old Michael Oliver being an employee of Manchester City again. That old conspiracy theory. But yeah, these and Anthony Taylor. Remember, he refereed that Europa League final involving Roma, where Roma lost, I think, in the end, and Mourinho
Yep.
was absolutely livid. And I
Yeah,
think,
yeah, they were robbed of that.
and they were,
I can understand exactly why Jose was pissed that night.
and Anthony Taylor and his family were accosted at the airport by Roma fans. That was
Mm,
quite brutal. Yes, I'm happy to critique their performances as referees, but I wouldn't go as far as to critique as to accost them at an airport when they're with their children and their wife.
yeah, yeah,
That's too much. I wouldn't go that far
definitely.
now. Um, yeah, and yeah, Mike Dean's quite an arrogant referee, and you see him now in the Sky
Hmm.
Sports studio, and he seems so cocky and arrogant too. So I'm not really sure if these guys really do critique
Mm.
themselves, but maybe you're right.
And regarding Italy, I mean, there's a lot of ultras at most of the big clubs, so that comes with that. You gotta navigate that very carefully. Same with like Galatasaray and a few of the Turkish teams as well. It's what builds as well to the atmosphere at the ground.
Yeah, yeah. So they've got a habit of spoiling games, and he nearly spoilt the game yesterday as
Hmm.
well. I mean, if that penalty had been scored after what it was given for, it would have been an
Yeah, yeah,
absolute farce.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. Absolute injustice. It was crazy. Yeah, yeah, mad.
But justice was done. We got
Yeah,
through it.
yeah, it was, it was. I just hope though, like it doesn't, ultimately, I'm very happy, but it has to mean something now. So these players, it's on them to make sure that they maintain this. Like knocking Arsenal out is fantastic, but now that has to be the impetus to now go on to the latter stages of the competition.
Yeah, I don't think we've won back-to-back FA Cups before.
Mm,
We've
hmm.
been in three finals in a row before on more than one occasion, but we've never actually won back-to-back FA
Yeah,
Cups. So that'd be a good achievement if we
and
could
this
do that.
one would be to level Arsenal as well, with
Yeah,
most
14,
FA Cups.
yeah, it's 14-13 at the moment, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah. So the incentive is there for them.
But let's be honest, if we're in a situation where we have to prioritize because of the squad limitations, if we have to prioritize one tournament, it's probably going to be the Europa League because that's our path back into the Champions League next season.
Yeah, I mean to be honest, I've written off the league this season. Like that is just a
Yeah.
playground where we're just gonna.
stay up.
Yeah, yeah. It's the race to 40 points, isn't it? Really, but that's really just a training ground for them to just try and perfect what they can for the other two competitions. Like this season, that's yeah. We the cups are what it's all about this season.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. So yeah, the league is somewhere where we just want to stay afloat, and
Hmm.
the cups are the priorities. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially the Europa League, though, given the value of it.
Yeah, yeah. So any experiments you want to do, you use the league to test it out, and then yeah, the Europa Cup. That's what I want this season.
Yeah, what I would do now, we want to be winning our Premier League games that are upcoming now in January, absolutely, because we need points on the board. But later in the season, if we're in a scenario where we've got a league game just before like a Europa League semi final or something, we'd probably rest players in the league game and prioritize the Europa League semi final, I think,
Hmm.
should that scenario arise.
Yeah,
You know, and it'd be
I
brilliant
mean, yeah,
for
yeah,
us to be there in Bilbao at the end of the season.
definitely, definitely. Obviously, a little bit of work to be done, and we're gonna find that soon enough anyway, because we've got two games coming up,
So,
haven't we? Rangers and Stewart.
yeah, after that absolute Newcastle fiasco and Bournemouth just before that, and Wolves, of
Hmm.
course, as well, we were down in the dumps thinking we're not going to beat anyone. But
Yeah, yeah,
after what's happened in the last week against Arsenal and Liverpool, there's no reason why we can't win the Europa League. We've got the best teams we're going to face is like a Lazio and Spurs. You know,
yeah, yeah.
these are winnable games for
Honestly,
them.
honestly, on paper, we're right up there. I know nothing's won on paper, but yeah, we are one of the stronger teams in the competition. So, provided the attitude's right and on the night, we can beat anyone.
And nobody's going to drop out of the Champions League this time as well.
Yeah, that's another added bonus as well.
So it's no wonder we're amongst the few. I would say, given the results in the last week,
Hmm.
that the bookies have shortened the odds even more on United winning the Europa League. But yeah, as you say, there's work to be done even just to get into the knockout stages.
Yep.
I, you
And
know,
then
on current form, I fancy us to blow Rangers away in
yeah,
next week.
yeah,
They don't turn
interesting
up.
little dilemma now as well for the manager. In terms of squad selections, even Bayindir now, obviously, you can't get hyped off of one game. But do you stick with the good form? Do you give him at least one of those games? I mean, I'd probably earmark him in for the Stewart one, definitely. But now, uh, you know, he might have a little question to answer. Do you bring him in before then?
Yeah, I don't expect to see him at least until the Rangers game. So
Hmm.
that'll be an interesting call as to whether he
Yeah,
trusts. But he definitely trusts him, doesn't he? So
yeah, he does. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Even the Rangers one, that would show a certain level of trust for me. Um, because I think the safe bet would be Stewart, right? But then if you wanted to reward him, yeah, throw him in against Rangers. Um, Flashbacks to how Jose used Romero.
yeah, he reminded me of Sergio Romero yesterday.
Hmm.
And the best number two in the league as he was known at the time. And
Yeah, yeah, because yeah, at that time, like he was actually competent, so I didn't worry too much. I still at the time did feel that it's a bit silly, especially the later stages of the Europa League, where we knew that on paper and on the pitch that De Gea was the better keeper, but
but
uh,
ironically, when we won the Europa League on the Mourinho, Romero was the goalkeeper all the way
mhm,
through. But under Solskjaer, when we lost the final, De Gea was the goalkeeper. So
yeah.
some football's a funny old game.
Hmm.
Mm. But yeah, it'd be
I've
interesting.
also just noticed as well, Kyle. Yesterday Raya had a horror show in the shootout. Is there a correlation between Spanish keepers named David?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? It's a very on Spanish forename, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
David. Not many. Wouldn't have struck me as like a Spanish name, but there you go. I suppose it's probably a name that in every language, really, isn't it? David,
Hmm.
I suppose. But there you go. I think Bayindir does have a chance now of playing some Europa League games, and he'll definitely start against Leicester in the fourth round for sure. Let,
Mm-hmm.
let's see. That's if he starts playing Europa League games, then the manager definitely does have great faith in him. But
Yeah.
the man, the manager, nobody was in favour of that decision whenever the manager announced it on Friday that he was going to play in this game.
Nope.
Everybody was anxious about it, but the manager was right again. He sees stuff that we don't see, and that's why he's paid the big bucks and why he's been.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I had a heated debate with one of my friends as well. Shout out to Vibes if he's listening. He was probably the only one. He told me that he actually didn't mind that Bayindir was the starting keeper, and he said, "Yeah, if the managers picked him, I'm all right with it." And I was like, "What?" And yeah, it got really heated, and I couldn't understand it. But I put my hands up. I apologize to you, Vibes. You're onto something.
Mm, Yeah, I don't see how a fan could have made an argument for Bayindir starting that game, but other than just blind faith in the manager. But I suppose that was good enough on this occasion.
Yeah. Do you know what his point was? Basically, that we signed him to give him game time and stuff. Whereas I was coming from the point of view of, well, he's a backup, isn't he? And there's no prerequisite for how many games a backup should have, and he played in the League Cup, so I was quite satisfied with the
Yeah,
appearances he was making.
but the League Cup appearance was a horror show. That's why
and
we were.
and that too, yeah. And even though I'm not a big fan of the starting goalkeeper, on paper I still think he's better than our second. So that's where I was coming from. But he was like, "Oh, if the manager chose it, then I'm all right with it." And well, look how it worked out.
Yeah, as I said, even the Malasia for Ugarte substitution, I was
Hmm.
like, what the hell is this? Yet it worked out. So,
Yeah,
I'll just have to bow to superior knowledge.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
So, thanks for coming on as always, Brush. Everyone, please subscribe to the channel and subscribe to the podcast if you're listening on audio. And appreciate all the hundreds of listeners and viewers who watch us and listen to us every single week. So, it's been a pleasure as always, Brush. Good to have you
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Thank you for having me. Yeah, and I'll speak to you next time.
All right, we'll see you next week, probably.
Bye bye.